Hi kids, how are we doing? Today I just want to have a quick look at creating some ambience on the model samples. So we're going to look at choice of instruments, which will be pads obviously for a bit of ambience, how you can use multiple tracks and how you can make them interesting and evolving. I've got some pads already here, so I'm just going to go through and go I think that will do nicely. It's quite atmospheric, a little bit haunting. And our first step, because we want the pads to be evolving and we want them to be large, we are going to use the scale feature. So if you press function and page, you get into a little section which says scale setup, and we've got it set to track, which means that each of the different tracks on the samples is going to have a different scale, a different amount of steps. I'm going to create this and make it 64, so that's as many steps as we can possibly put in. But this is the clever bit. With 64 steps, that only makes it a 4-bar loop. But if we reduce it from scale times 1 down to half, then we double it. So instead of having 4 bars, we've now got 8 bars. And then we can reduce it even further. So 1/4, quarter, that goes from 8 bars to being 16 bars. And then we can even go to an 1/8, which makes it and changes it from 16 bars to 32 bars, which is a nice big sequence that you can play with. Of course, the resolution is a lot lower, so you can't put as much detail in, but when you've got large long pads, that doesn't matter quite so much. Okay, so we've set up the scale and we've selected our instrument. Now let's play something. So I'm going to record in real time, just because I don't have to think about it quite so much. So real time recording, press record and play, and then right, that will probably do. And stop recording. Because the samples is only monophonic, every sample will cut off the other one. You've got no polyphony there. So in order to create the illusion of polyphony, what you can do is double up. So I'm going to go onto track 2. I'm going to select exactly the same sample. So into the random sounds, enter the big verb pad. So that's set up. Now on track 2 I have got exactly the same pad, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute track 1, and then with track 2, in order to create something a little bit different, and I want a long length of time again, I'm going to go back into the page, edit, and this time instead of having 64 notes, I'm going to make it slightly different. I'm going to make it 55. That means, and turn it down to an eighth, and that means that instead of having 32 full bars, it's not going to quite make it up to 32 full bars. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many it is, but the two different lines of pads will shift against each other, and then you get a much longer sequence. It helps with the idea that the whole thing is evolving. So now, having set up two different lengths of sequence, let's play something in. Of course, if I was thinking about this a bit more depth, I would make sure I've worked out a scale, and I would have the two different tracks playing things that were related, so that I would know where they mix together. It would always be harmonically sound. Whereas here, it's all a little bit more random. Okay, so that's that filled in. Next step, I'm going to pan number 2, press function over to one side, because I want to create depth and size. And pan track 1 over to the other side. And already you've got a bigger sense of feel. But there's a couple of other things that we can do just to add a bit more. So, next job, we want it to reverb and just create some space. So I'm going to put the reverb on. Large reverb, and make sure the reverb size is as big as possible, because in ambience, big reverbs are the name of the game. And we need to do the same with track 2. And we've got that slightly ethereal quality coming through, which is, you know, really quite nice, especially for ambient stuff. And I might put some delay on as well. Delay on track 1, 2. And the last thing that I want to do, just to add more chance, I like the longer notes and I like the variation, and that is where I'm going to use the chance. So if I knock the chance level down on track 1, make it about 70%, then not every one of the notes that I played on that crowded sequence that I put together is going to sound, and therefore it's going to create even more interest, another layer of complexity in the pattern that you're creating. And I'll do the same to track 2. Just let those go. And with me stopping that, you can hear how long the decay of that is. And if we play again, you'll hear them drifting. There we go. As you can hear, that's a long, evolving, atmospheric sound. You can add another layer of interest if you use the LFOs, but we'll look at that another day. As you can see, I've changed location a little bit, so I hope you like it. I should be back on track making more regular videos again, so if there's anything you'd like me to cover, please let me know. If you've made it to the end and you're not already a subscriber, you really need to subscribe. Hope you've enjoyed it. Share it around, tell your friends, and as they say at the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation, share and enjoy. Bye kids!